Hey everybody, we're back with another one. This time I want to kind of talk about Fields, the company, and what it is and what I'm doing now because I just started working for them. It's a huge company. It's like a Fortune 500 company. They own so many other companies. It's like the parent company to so many other companies, and I didn't know that at the time. They own a few like high-end restaurants that people wait in lines to get into, or if you're a celebrity, no reservation, you don't get in. And they what they did was they own all this content, and they would lease it or sell it to like slot machines and stuff. So when you play a slot machine and you see the Hulk fighting Iron Man or something like that, they own that content. That was their main business, which was a very lucrative business. And it still is. It's dropped down a little bit because of the casinos that are supposed to be opening soon. But so they own all the content. They own a lot of companies. When a company's struggling, they believe has potential, they'll come in and buy it, or they'll rescue them. Take a percentage of their company. Or if it's a company that's been around for a while, that they've earned a name for themselves, they'll come in and rescue them, and of course take over ownership. And that's just what they did. It's a huge company. Just they had unlimited funds. Sometimes it's just amazing. They redid their office meeting space for like $20 million. There was a restaurant, and then they got tired of the way it looked. Spent $3 million what do you call it? What's the word? Well, you know what I'm saying. Renewing it, and they 6 months later they didn't like the way it looked in, and they spent another couple millions doing it over. I mean, they had the money. They just unlimited funds, and I have like 3 drivers that I can use. I actually brought Chris on board too to be one of my drivers. So my job was to find new athletes, new potential, so we could manage them, market them. If it's a baseball player during the off season, put them in commercials and stuff. Make that extra stuff on the side for them, as well as just athlete support, helping them out. And before I did it by myself. I had to get on a train, go meet them somewhere, call a taxi. This time I've got cars, I've got restaurants that people are dying to get into. I mean, my arsenal just expanded massively. Like I went from having a couple 45s to now automatic machine guns with a 50 cal. It's just my armory is amazing now, and it's all my job is just to find new business opportunities, meet new people, reach out, find new athletes, and then the athletes that they already had under the sports marketing agency is just to help them out too. So I had an easy job. Went in. I was supposed to go in 3 times a week, but I went in every day, and I just kind of hung around and tried to find out new opportunities. If I bring them something, I'll be like, hey, this company is something they're trying to do. You guys interested? They'd be like, no, I'm not interested. And we throw the proposal in the trash, or they'll be like, yeah, follow up on that. See exactly what they want, and then I follow up on it. Sometimes I'd be like, hey, this company is wanting to, work with this company, but I know this company is really hard to deal with. So, can we help them? They're like, actually, we own this company. So yeah, that'll be easy. I'll just call the owner and we'll set up a meeting. So it was like, wow, things were much easier. And working for that company, the business card alone, it drew people's attention. I remember I wanted to do a big like winter festival, half pipes and stuff like that, with some artists. It's just something I was just wanting to do. And I went to one of the big clubs because they set up like a skate thing inside for like skaters. The wind is windy, so hopefully it's not too annoying. And so I went in just to talk to them about the half pipes and making them and what it costs. And so I'm in there and I see one of the guys I knew from the club days, and it's his event. He's the promoter. I'm like, hey, what's up? And I didn't really care for the guy in the first place, but promoters. So I'm talking to him. I was like, yeah, I want to build this stuff, but at double the scale. And he was like, yeah, well, that's kind of expensive. And I was like, yeah, I know it's expensive, but how much? Can you introduce me to the people who make they'll come in make a quick half pipe and skate ramps and stuff like that. I was like, can you introduce me to whoever's this is? And he was like, yeah, but I don't think you have the space, or it's going to be really expensive. This alone costs a lot. I was like, look, I understand that. Just introduce me to the guy. Stop talking. And he was like, well, okay. And he was just being really a dick. So he calls over this guy, and this guy comes over, and he's like, oh, this is Bachi. He used to run clubs and stuff like that. Now he works with baseball players or whatever. He wants to, like, build some half pipes or something, but he says double this size, which, I don't think that's possible, but, you can talk to him. And he says this right in front of me. So I pull out my business card. I hand it to him, and it says right across the top the name of the company. And they're like, oh, my. And the guy was like, dude, you work for them now? And everybody knows they have unlimited funds. So he was like, oh, yeah, we can definitely do it. Yeah, we can. And so the guy's like, well, let me, I'll. I was like, no. You didn't want me to do this in the first place, telling me that I didn't have the funds. I told you I did. So he was like, oh, I didn't know you worked for that company. And, so just that kind of, when they seen the business card, things change quick. So that was my job, just running around, finding opportunities, finding and taking care of players. And that's where I met some of my best friends now. And I'll talk about that later. It felt good. I mean, if I got a phone call at 10 o'clock at night, say, hey, we wanted to go by this restaurant, could you join us? I don't have to jump on the train and go here and go. I just call the driver and say, hey, pick me up, or I'll meet you here and stuff. It was so much easier. I could take them home. I could drive them around. On Mondays, I'd take the athletes to the beach or something on their off day, and had the car, the van, and I called the beach houses for the VIP. And, it was just at a whole new level of VIP-ness, I guess to say. Restaurants, and people call me, hey, I heard you're working for that company. Me and my wife would really want to go to that restaurant, but they said the waiting list is like a month. Can you help me out? I got you. Call. And the restaurants love me because I brought in celebrities and I brought in these people, and even like people from outside. I took One Direction there one time, things like that. So they really liked me. So when I called, they always made a table. And usually those kind of restaurants, like the high end, the ones that take care of the celebrities, the VIP, they have a couple tables to the side that they hold just for a surprise visit from, like, say, Brad Pitt or whoever. I mean, it's just there. They don't use it unless it's somebody pops up. And that just kind of became my table. When I called, that was just always the table they gave me. So it was good for me. And it was good for everybody else, because now I've got more power. I've got more bullets for the gun, to say. So that was my job, and that's all I did, was just run around and meet people and take care of athletes, the athletes we had, and then they'd meet with me. And another thing, I was always involved in like the investment pitches, or like when a foreign company, like an American company, wants to start a product in Japan, they find a Japanese partner, and then usually the Japanese partner would come to us asking for like investment or money, a loan, or, whatever, or just to be part of it, or let us use one of our outlets, which we had so many other companies we own. So, and we would have these. We've got the best product in the world pitches 2-3 times a month, sometimes 2-3 times a week, depending on these projects. And at first I was like, oh, this is cool, but then it got so repetitious. Was that the word? Repetition. We got so like in the repetition of the same thing over and over. And I was just like, God, these guys, it's the same sheets, the same spreadsheets, it's the same numbers, it's the same graphs, and they have an hour to get us on board or to convince us to get involved in this. The first 10 minutes is hey, we're so-and-so, we're this company, we started in 1949. And then the next 40 minutes is numbers of how investing in them or being part of their company is going to benefit us in some way, or what their 500 people tried this new candy bar and 498 of them lost 5 pounds. And it's just numbers after numbers and numbers, and you just sit there, and it's a battle to stay awake, honestly, because it's so boring. And it's not boring because the product is boring. It's boring because I've heard this pitch 3 times this week by different companies. Some are similar. Some are other candy companies doing the exact same pitch. So it's just like, oh, are you serious? And then the last 10 minutes is like, so we hope that you see the benefit of working with us. And it's just like Shark Tank. It's exactly like Shark Tank. They come in and say, hey, they got 20 minutes to pitch. But they don't do the cool, fun, joking around and playing and acting out. They just come in a suit and a computer screen on the wall, and they talk about their stuff and they show us numbers. And I'm not a mathematician. And the guys in the room with me, they're not numbers guys. The numbers guys are in a different area, and they're brought in when the time is right. So half of the numbers they're saying, yeah, it makes a little sense. If you give us $500,000, we'll give you 10% of the company. Okay, that's easy. But when they're like, well, according to our sales chart of 1995, and 33% of the sales were down at 22.76, and it just gives these numbers, and you're just like, oh my God. And then they come out and they're like, so this is the product that we want you guys to be involved in, and we think it would be. And you're just like, oh, so you don't even know what it is. So sorry, just frustrating. It was just so frustrating. I was like, just come in. This is my advice to you guys. If you're doing these pitches and stuff, come in, connect with the people first. Tell them, look, this is my product. From the time I was a kid to the time I was, 20 years old, I wanted to create a candy bar that was good, tasteful. It was, it wasn't fatty. You could eat it and still feel healthy. And I tried and I worked and I failed and I made a lot of mistakes. And, the flavor was off. The flavor was, it was disgusting. It got good, but it just didn't balance out. Finally, after the last 15 years, I finally found a mixture that is perfect. I love it. Everybody around me loves it. I think it's something that would definitely sell in Japan. Now, this is a key point. Now, a lot of times they do these pitches and they're like, but we want to put it in every gym in Japan. The problem is gyms already have their exclusive contracts, and you're just like, that's not possible, because even our gyms that you try to want to get into already have exclusive contracts. So you just wasted an hour of my life because your whole battle plan is off. So start the meeting first. And our whole idea is to put these candy bars in every convenience store in Japan, because Japan and America, Japan and Australia, Japan and UK have different rules, different laws, different regulations, different, importing, exporting deals. So, you say that, well, let me stop you there. Actually, to put a candy bar into a 7-Eleven, you need to have a contract with this distributor, because they're the only ones allowed to put candy bars into 7-Eleven. Now, Lawson is a different distributor. There's different laws. If you start with that, then it's easier. We can tell you, okay, the battle plan. Now, we do have a connection with 7-Eleven, but we don't have a connection with Lawson. So that takes away from that whole every convenience store in Japan. So if you would start with this and say, okay, well, 7-Eleven, let's just focus on 7-Eleven. Okay, that's fine. And then now I want to go into the numbers and stuff like that. And then, okay, a simple breakdown, because a number of people aren't in the meeting at the first one. They come in later. And that would be so much easier. So at least we know the product, we feel the connection, and we know how much you believe in this product. I remember there's this athletic equipment company that they come in and they did this whole pitch, and it's an American company. They did really well, and they pitched, and it was like an hour and a half, and they just go on about numbers and sales and how they upped in the last 4 years, and now how they have this major league team using their products. And the product was good. I really liked the product. I actually took the product, I got samples, and I took it to the park, and I had some of my athletic, sporting friends and stuff that I knew that were like training in different sports to test the stuff out, and they loved it. They're like, this is good. So anyway, they did the meeting, and at the end of the meeting, they said, so we want to get into the high school baseball tournaments over here and be an official sponsor. Never going to happen. That's just not even possible. You're not a Japanese company. They're very strict. They have a lot of laws. I mean, you can't even use an Under Armour wristband with the logo showing. You have to black it out. I mean, they have extremely strict laws over here for the baseball, the high school baseball. It's almost like the Vatican. Is that what it is? Yeah, they have their own laws and rules. It's really strict. You can't just get into it. So he was like, our focus is to get into the high school baseball tournaments and start there. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And this guy's American. He's pitching. He just had a Japanese partner that was trying. And I was like, that's going to be kind of difficult. It's not an easy job, especially for a non-Japanese company that's not even made a name here yet. He's like, oh, well, we have a connection with the high school baseball. We meet with them after this. And, they said that. I was like, yeah, they're probably going to charge you money just to reach out to the high school baseball committee, but it's not going to happen. I'm just telling you. And of course, the bosses and stuff that are in the meeting with me, they're like, what is he talking about? And I said he wants to get into non-translated. And they're like, oh yeah, that's impossible. That's just not something easily done. And so the guy kind of got upset, and he was like, well, we already have connected. We reached out, and he got mad because I shot down his balloon. I'm like, well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I hope it works out for you. So they leave, and the boss is like, Bachi, what do you think? I said, the equipment, I like the equipment. I want to take some home and test it out and stuff like that. I said, but the high school baseball thing is just impossible. Even the major leagues over here, the teams use what they use, so it's just hard to break in. So they just need to start in the sporting schools, maybe some college teams, and try to support some like rugby teams and soccer, and work your way into baseball, because baseball is the #1 sport in Japan. He's like, yeah, I think that's a good idea too. And so, we left it alone. 2 weeks later, the owner of the company comes to Japan to meet with me. And they call the meeting again, and we're in there. This time he comes in with the same pitch, but more aggressive. Like, this is the product. And he's looking at me the entire meeting, and it's awkward for me because the guy's like, you don't understand. This can sell, and it's just the whole time it's like this, and you're just kind of like, it's just awkward. So after the meeting, it's like a 45-minute thing. He goes over, and he's like, so I know that you had concerns about our product and you weren't very sold by the. I was like, no, I love the product. I tested it. I mean, my friends loved it. Well, what's the problem? I came all the way here to convince you to be a part of this. I said, you said you're going to get into the baseball, the high school baseball, and that was going to be your in, which is impossible. You had a meeting with them. How'd that go? And they're like, oh well, they wanted the company wanted us to pay them like $80,000, and that was just to set up a meeting with the committee to see if it's possible. I said, I told you that's what's going to happen. It's just not possible. I said, have you done your research? They're like, oh yeah. I said, the same sponsors of that thing has been the same sponsor for the last 80 years or whatever it is. How do you think you're going to break that wall down? Unless you pay a lot of money. And you're not even a Japanese company. If you notice, everything that they use is Japanese. Mizuno, stuff like that. So they were like, well, yeah, it didn't quite work out the way we planned. I said, exactly. Like I told you from the beginning. Just if you'd have just listened to me. I said, I like your product. And well, what do you think? I said, I think you should start with colleges, high schools, but just give them product to test it. Not the tournament, but just the high schools and sporting. And well, we don't like to sample out products like that. I said, you're an American company that nobody knows who you are, or what it is. They have the exact same equipment here for almost the same price. Why would they choose you? You need to get your foot in the door. And they're like, okay, well, we already have our plans with like the online TV where you buy stuff online at night and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. And so after they left the meeting, the boss was like, they're kind of aggressive and they're not very open-minded to the Japanese system, huh? I was like, no, they're not. He's like, well, what do you think? Should we think we should get involved? And I was like, I like the product, but I just don't like the people involved. I'm sorry, it's just not my cup of tea. And they're like, yeah, I kind of feel it too. I can just see that his aggression. The whole meeting, he stared at you like he was trying to prove to a point. So of course, we didn't get involved, and that company tried. I seen them do some things here and there, but yeah, they're gone. They were too aggressive for Japanese, for the way Japanese do business. They're more of a earn your respect, earn your name, earn your relationship, and then expand type country. So that's that. That's the company I work with. That's Field. So now I'm going to go into some people I meet, the things I'm dealing with, and the projects. It's not a lot of stuff. I mean, there's some funny stories in there, I think, hopefully, and that's just it. So I'm working for a huge company now. I have a lot of network power, a lot of things I can do, and it's a new adventure. It's a new learning experience. And remember, if you're going to pitch to somebody, tell them who you are, what it is first, before you just throw numbers out there. It's a worse feeling to sit in that meeting and just not care about the numbers. Just want to know, what does this taste like? All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.